It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's the TNG review show. Yay!
Woohoo!
Hi everybody. Hi, I'm Maz. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. How you
You're
doing?
doing good. I'm doing not so great. Not so great. But we are here. It's 8 o'clock. It's Wednesday. We are talking about another episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. COVID or no COVIDs, we're still doing this thing. But you'll have to bear with me.
Like COVID, no COVID.
COVID, no COVIDs. Yeah. Unfortunately, I have tested positive this afternoon, which is a bit of a pain. I knew it, like, I never test. I hate testing. I just don't like that whole thing. And because I just sit here, I don't go out anywhere. I don't really have to test. So
Same.
But just like with my head pounding and feeling feverish and everything, my glands are all swollen, my neck's hurting, my jaw. I just thought, I've got to test because I've got this feeling, And sure enough, lo and behold, it's got a tiny little faint line there, isn't it?
Oh, you're probably in for a rocky few days then.
Yes. And I thought, do I really want to be doing this? But I thought, of course I do. It's a TNG review show. And then my internet for the past hours decided to go on the fritz. So it's like,
oh yeah, at least it's working again now.
It's working, hopefully. Nobody's said hello yet, so I'm assuming we're going out to the internet. I'm assuming someone's going to turn up.
I showed 4 watchers, but
yeah.
Oh, Smiley Rainbow's there. Yay, Smiley Rainbow.
Hey. Yes. But anyway, how's your week been, Maz?
My week's been okay. It's just more of, the whole Homes for Ukraine, UK government fiasco. It's been sort of 2.5 weeks now, and I've heard nothing. It was supposed to take 5 days, and just nothing. We're being told it could take 3 weeks, could take up to a month.
Right.
It's just not good. But then, other than that, not a lot really. Haven't really been anywhere. Went out briefly on the weekend to Turtle Bay on Friday.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Which was lovely. I had G-Star around my house on Saturday.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
It was like deferred from my birthday where he wasn't able to come round. So we caught up, which was lovely. Yeah. That's about it in my world.
Cool. Good evening, Stuplum. I see Stuplum is here.
Hey, Stuplum.
We have someone to take part on the quiz. That's always good.
Yay.
That's always
good.
You
could have an easy point tonight, Stuplum.
Yeah, an easy point.
Yeah. We know that Andrew Semple can't join us today because he's working late again. I don't know whether Mickey and Kaz will be on. Let's hope so.
Let's hope so later on. Did you manage to finish your homework and watch Picard?
Aye.
Right.
I've watched it all, or at least
up to date.
As much as like episode 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
You've paused.
Oh no, that's not a good sign.
You paused. I got a little squirrely on my thingy going round.
Oh, what on live?
Yeah, hopefully it's okay again now.
Yeah.
We seem to be back.
This is the problem, isn't it? It's like I had a feeling like my internet wasn't that great. But
I'll keep everything crossed.
Keeping everything crossed.
But yes, I did my homework.
Oh, yes. And what did you think then? What's your...
Yeah, not too bad. I know that's not going to be a popular response with you, but I don't want to give away too many spoilers in case other people haven't watched it. But I think I feel like I'm almost enjoying the second season better than the first season. It just feels a little bit more like a bit less chaotic of going from this place to this place, and this person joins the group, then leaves the group, then joins the group, then it just seemed a bit like chaotic. But the way I'm sort of viewing it in my head now is like each season is a different story, almost like an elongated episode. like the kind of episode, like if you take, Best of Both Worlds, you could have done that as like a little mini series almost, following, maybe the path of a couple of the different ships that are going into battle. And, it's kind of like that. It's like instead of doing like a little episodic thing, they've got meteor stories that they've just done as a little mini series, which I know isn't, the way Star Trek used to be, but I still enjoy it for what it is. Yeah.
Good.
You're hating it.
I hate it. There's some aspects of it I like, there's not
Jerry Ryan like driving really fast in a car. That was really cool to see.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
I guess. But even that,
I mean, it looked like they were properly like, I don't know what she was doing, but like her hair, like the G-forces of like her hair was going all over the place. I don't know if she's a little bit of a girl racer anyway, but
production wise, it's very good. Like that as a set piece, they did it very well. But I don't know, like the main one, like I don't want to talk spoilers really, but just in case anybody hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah, that's it. Just talk in general terms.
Yeah. Well, it's just.
How's this on? Hi, Karen.
Why did Q take all the main characters from the first series and put them into the alternate timeline? Because, like always in the past, it's because, well, they're all on the bridge and they take the Enterprise from one place to another. But in this, like, 2 of them were on the Excelsior, a couple of them were on the Stargazer. I think the Doctor was somewhere else completely different. But for some reason, Q decided to lump those people from his life together, and it just seems a bit odd.
True that.
Yeah, it's little things like that, really. But it's all right. It's entertaining, and it is entertainment.
Yeah,
what it is.
And you've heard the news this week about
What?
season 3?
No.
Oh, it's all over the Star Trek chat sites. Apparently, season 3 is going to have all TNG cast in it. They're going to unite the whole
I have
crew.
seen some like selfies with them all together, and I know they filmed it already, haven't they? Well, they're in the process of filming it. It's like they did the 2 series back to back because they were worried about Picard.
Yeah.
Let's just get it done. Let's get it done.
Yeah, definitely.
Bless him. Why? Okay, this does annoy me a little bit, right? 10 forward was called 10 forward because it's on deck 10 and it's at the front. When even Worf says it in one line, there's an energy beam. It struck deck 10 forward section, because that's where it got its name. So why would she be in a bar called 10 forward in 2024? And he goes, "Oh, that's what I always wondered why they called it 10 forward." It's like, that's not the reason. Anyway.
It doesn't make any sense other than, Guinan kind of exists on this weird cosmic coincidence thing. It's like things happen for a reason around Guinan.
But she always,
other than that, it doesn't make any sense.
She always knew who Picard was because she met him back in the 1700s in Time's Arrow.
Yeah,
so
and this supposedly is a different timeline, but it's like it's only a different timeline
from now,
where
from
that time
2024.
So, yeah.
So it should be still the normal timeline. So she should know who Picard is.
Mm-hmm.
She's been informed about all that already. They don't watch their own show.
No,
making they don't. They're like, whatever, whatever. Anyway, I'm not gonna.
So if anything happened to Patrick Stewart, Kaz would happily revive him.
Oh, yes.
You'd give him a bit of mouth to mouth and bring him back to life, right?
Yes. So anyone that's just joined, hi, Karen. Just to let you know, we're possibly having internet connection issues this evening. And,
keep everything crossed, folks.
I've got the COVIDs, so a little bit ropey, but we're continuing on anyway. Should we get on with it then?
Yeah, why not?
Let's get on with it. I've got questions. You got any you got your bloopers and behind the scenes
not
things?
much. Only sort of 2 and a bit pages this week, but a couple of little bitties and bobbies.
Cool. Right. Well, we are here talking about Hollow Pursuits. It's the 21st episode of Season 3. Only 5 more to go. Production number 40273-169. It first aired on the 30th of April, 1990. It's the 68th TNG episode to be both produced and released. Sean says he hears that COVID interferes with the 5G. That'd be the connection issues.
Nice one.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah. The synopsis for this episode reads: Lieutenant Barclay, an introvert diagnostic engineer, is having difficulties dealing with his fantasies. It's written by Sally Caves. Now, I looked Sally Caves up, and I've just taken this from her bio. I just thought it was quite interesting, really. So Sally Caves is the pen name for a Dr. Sarah Higley. She's a professor of English at the University of Rochester in New York and holds a PhD in medieval languages and literature. She teaches medieval languages, cultural studies, and science fiction. Along with her published work in Old English, Middle Welsh, and Old Norse, she has published stories in magazine of fantasy and science fiction. In science fiction magazine Terra. Yeah. Her claim to fame is she created the character Reginald Barclay and coined the term hollow addiction. But yeah, this is literally the only thing, apart from some short sci-fi stories and some sci-fi magazines. This is her only writing credit outside of academia. But what a story! If you're going to write one, this is a good one to start on, isn't it?
Definitely.
Right. For those that didn't see it last week, here is the trailer for this episode. Where is it? There it is. Stick with it. Stick with me, internet connection.
Let's hope it plays okay.
Yeah.
Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation, a serious accident releases highly toxic chemicals.
Begin evacuation of secondary hull.
And contamination ignites a chain reaction that's tearing up the Enterprise.
Controls are not responding, sir.
Now the crew faces destruction at breakneck speed.
We can't shut it down, Captain. She's accelerating out of control.
On the next exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Star Trek. Oh, it pretty much.
I love it.
Pretty much worked.
Next time.
Shush. Go away.
Actually, on the sort of trivia, it picks up on this. It says, because we mentioned it last week, the original episodic promo for this episode makes no reference to Barclay or his holodeck addiction, but instead focuses entirely on the malfunctions aboard the Enterprise. We said that last time, didn't we? We were like, oh, where's Barclay and his holodeck? And that was not mentioned at all.
I don't know, and that's the most interesting thing of the. I mean, that's the whole episode is really about Barclay, isn't it? The whole Enterprise in trouble thing is just a side story.
Yeah. But I guess to anybody wanting to capture the action of it, it's big starship goes out of control, So I don't know. Yeah.
Let me bring up pictures.
Yes.
Right, there we go. Right, so teaser. The episode opens in 10 forward, where Lieutenant Reginald Barclay is drinking whiskey at the bar. Guinan tells him she doesn't want any trouble here, because wherever Barclay goes, trouble seems to follow. Geordi enters and reprimands Barclay for being at the bar whilst on duty, and tells him to get back to his post. Barclay says he can take his holier-than-thou attitude and get out of his life. And with that, he pushes him, with very little effort, I might add, over a table. Riker comes over and charges him with insubordination. Reg drinks to that and gets Riker in some sort of devious headlock. He tells him he is nothing but a pretty mannequin in a fancy uniform. And if Picard has a problem with him, he needs to come down and talk to him about it himself.
That must have hurt his back, He has back problems, doesn't he?
He does have real bad.
Awkward.
He does have real bad back problems, and he suffers with it since the beginning of Star Trek. I think he hurt himself just before Star Trek began, and but he takes it well. Troy's watching from a nearby table and tells him he excites her. But unfortunately for Troy, Barclay gets called away by Cargo Bay 5, and before leaving, saves the program to the holodeck's memory, and 10 Forward disappears, revealing we were in the holodeck all along. Now in the real world, in Cargo Bay 5, Geordi and Riker are overseeing the beaming of some containers. But, question 1, how many containers does O'Brien beam in to the cargo bay? So that's your question 1.
Do you know, I did know how many containers later on are on the anti-grav pad, but this is a tricky one. I'm not sure.
I figured people would be thinking about how many were on the anti-grav pad. So I thought first question would be, how many containers did O'Brien beam in at the beginning of this scene?
That's a good question.
Yeah, Sean, if you're still with us, we have it's a bit like a pub quiz. So each act has a question, and this one is for 20 points. So there. Check that out.
I'm going to make a guess in a bit, but it probably won't be right.
Let's see what people have to say.
We haven't got to the end of the teaser yet, have we?
No, we have not.
You haven't got to the end. No.
So whilst answers are coming in, assuming we're still online and people are there. Sean's answered. He's gone for a 3.
Hey.
Okay, Geordie's moaning
So
about.
is Snooplam.
Oh right. Oh,
it's nowhere near my guess.
Threes are popular. Geordie's moaning about Reg to Riker, as he's always late and he doesn't put much effort in. Riker says he'll take it to the captain. He'll talk to the captain about broccoli. Geordie snickers. Riker says that's what Wesley calls him, but keep that to yourself.
Which he doesn't do very successfully, I think.
Yeah. If anybody's wondering how many containers are on the anti-grav sled, there you go. Lieutenant.
It's supposed to be 8.
I think 2 are behind.
Behind him
here, yeah. Lieutenant Duffy, who has been placing containers on the anti-grav platform, finds one of them is broken. It's broken its seal, and you can see this like smoke coming out of the middle one there. It turns out that whatever was in it will now be tainted. The cargo bay doors open and Barclay arrives. Upon spotting both Geordi and Riker, he goes and hides behind some barrels. Unfortunately for Barclay, they've already spotted him. Geordi asks Red if he has a problem reporting for duty. Barclay lies and said he had an important communique. Geordi doesn't want to hear it though. This Barclay is not the confident Barclay that we just saw on the holodeck. This Barclay is shy and has problems communicating. Geordi tells Barclay they're having problems with the anti-grav platform and he wants him to take a look. As he goes, Riker grabs him by the arm and tells him he tells him he's tired of seeing his name on report. This is the Enterprise and we have different standards here. Riker leaves, but looks back at Barclay, giving him an evil eye. He's like, I'm watching you. So that was the end of the teaser. And
I mean, I just really like that they're kind of humanizing it a little bit because, in Star Trek, everybody's a little bit holier than thou. Everybody's kind of perfect, really moral. It's just nice to actually see a little bit of dysfunction. It kind of just makes it all a little bit more real, I think.
I think that's why, as well as Dwight, what's he called?
Schultz.
Dwight Schultz, that's it. As well as him being a really good actor, I think the character is just, it's nice to see in the Next Generation someone who's potentially brilliant at his job, but, you know, has a few issues going on in his life and is not Mr. Perfect. And I think as an audience there, especially as a teenage boy for me at the time watching this episode, watching Star Trek, you can really kind of relate to him and think, oh, that's probably that would be me on this ship. But yeah,
it was you know, a lot of people, well, some fans at the time apparently took it a little bit the wrong way, or at least they thought it was kind of poking fun at Star Trek geeks being awkward and shy and that sort of thing. But you know, the production staff, Cliff Bowl, Michael Piller, they've all like gone on record saying this had nothing to do with sort of depicting our fans or anything like that. It was just, you know, as about having the fantasy life versus reality, and you know, and bringing a character to life. But yeah, it was not about that, poking fun at
and I think
at Star Trek fans.
I think them putting a little bit of themselves into him as well, and their awkwardness is.
Well, yeah, that's what Michael Piller said. He said he's constantly in his fantasy world, and you know, his wife said, "That's you."
Yeah.
So you know, I think a lot of people identified with it, and as you say, because the fans identified with it, they thought it was them, but to Michael Piller, it was actually him.
Yeah.
You know, himself. So yeah, he said, you know, even that line about standing in the corner trying to look comfortable examining a potted plant was near verbatim for something that Piller himself had said to Ira Stephen Bear. So they're definitely taken from themselves rather than from the fans. But that's it. I mean, it's so relatable that people all see themselves in him, which is pretty cool, really. And did you know how it came about that Dwight Schultz was in this episode?
No.
So there's a couple of potentially conflicting.
Oh,
ideas
I
around
know,
this,
I
but-
know, I do know. It's come to me. It's come from the back of my brain box. It involves Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, well, the Star Trek Companion says that Dwight Schultz was always a Star Trek fan and actually approached Rick Berman to consider him if the right part came along. But on Schultz's own fan site, it actually claims that Whoopi Goldberg put him forward for it because they'd worked on a film together, and Dwight Schultz had told her what a Star Trek fan he was. So she actually, you know, put together the idea, and he had he didn't know that she'd done that until they called him with the news that they'd written a guest role for him. But originally, when they wrote it was going to be a one-off character appearance. But obviously later they thought of ways to bring him back in, and you know, and he's in quite a few episodes. But it was just going to be a one-hit wonder, you know, kind of cameo role. And ended up, I mean, well, with all the stuff in Voyage as well, ended up being a very recurring role, didn't it?
Yeah, very, very recurring. Okay, answers to question 1 then.
My guess was 8, which is way away from what anybody else has said.
No.
Because I knew that there was 8 on the thingy. I thought maybe he beamed them all in. I don't know. Maybe not.
Unfortunately for everyone, I'm having to split the difference between the answers there and tell you it's 4. It's 4. So you didn't get 20
Does that
points.
mean everybody gets half points?
No.
Oh.
No.
When you said split the difference, I thought maybe, you know.
Just because I'm
so
seeing
everybody
3s.
gets a 0.
I'm seeing 3s and 5s. There's the one in the middle. Yeah, but you know, we've got another question about to come up, and that was 40 points, so you'll be all right. Yeah.
Sean says Rick Berman put Dwight Schultz in, and he didn't have to date him. I take it has there been some controversy with other like female leads having to date?
Oh yeah, tell us more, Sean. Tell us more.
Don't know. Yeah, dish the goss.
Dish the goss. Yeah, maybe we haven't heard that one. So yeah, is Rick Berman? Has he put girlfriends into Star Trek? Has he? It wouldn't surprise me. It was
Me Too situation.
It was a very popular thing to do, wasn't it, in the 1990s?
Yeah.
I think. Right, on with Act 1 then. In the captain's log, we learn that the canisters are tissue samples that the Micalax are donating to NAMI 4 to help with an outbreak of Corellium fever. Barclay, having investigated the anti-grav problem, reports to Geordi that it looks normal now, but when Geordi activates it wobbles about a bit and canisters fall. And another canister breaks. Barclay says it shouldn't do that. Oh.
Mr. States the obvious.
No, it's like, it shouldn't do that. But he says, I'll run a full diagnostic later. And Geordie's like, gestures and like, no, you'll look at it now. So, like, he looks down at the floor and goes off to re-look at it. What I'm wondering, right, is that why transport it on a complicated anti-grav? Why can't they just pick them up and or transport them? Why don't they just transport them? If they're so precious, why don't they just transport them to wherever they're being stored or whatever? Why put it on this wobbly anti-grav platform in the first place?
Don't know. Like, just get lazy in the future, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah. Sure, Jerry Ryan. Jerry Ryan had a serious problem with Kate Mulgrew. Yes. And then she started dating Rick. No, I've seen Rock and I've seen...
Rick, I think.
Oh, Rick. I've seen Rick and I've seen Jerry.
I
I know.
sort of, but...
I know they had a problem because when Jerry Ryan joined Voyager, she really took a lot of the sort of female lead stories, didn't she, that Kate Mulgrew had sort of had up to that point. And I think Captain Janeway's character did, her involvement did lessen, didn't it, with Jerry Ryan? It just seemed like every other episode was about Jerry Ryan. So
Yeah.
can't understand why. But,
No, it wasn't to please all the fans at all.
no. Okay, so here's another one.
99% of the fans.
Slight spoiler, but if they're in an alternate reality now, I'm back to Picard. Sorry, I'm back to Picard. If they're in an alternate timeline now, in the bodies of the alternate timeline, because they shifted from normal time to totalitarian Federation timeline, right? Jerry Ryan's thing disappeared above her face because she was never a Borg in this timeline. Does that mean Picard's now a person again?
Rather than a robot.
Yeah, rather than a robot.
You would think, yeah.
Oh.
But he can't tell anyway. When he got turned into a robot in the first place, he couldn't tell.
Don't know, you can't tell.
Maybe he is. He won't know until like somebody tries to stab him or something.
Yeah, and he bleeds like yellow goo or something.
Or red.
Oh. Yeah.
Like, oh, where's my android blood?
Sean's guessing that they're ridiculously heavy and unstable. Well, no, because he picks one up and just like walks off with it. Like they don't appear to weigh anything. So I don't know. They had an anti-grav sled in Futurama. They did, yes, yeah.
And he said, "Oh, I think about the he said there's something about to do with Golden Cat, like because he had the skulls, didn't he? Picard,
Oh yes. Oh, did he get killed in this one as well in a different way, and so still became a robot?
I've been meaning to go back and watch it a second time, but yeah, I'll look out for that on my second watch.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry, everybody who hasn't seen.
Sorry, I don't know.
Spoilering it all up.
We're going off topic. Anyway, we're in Picard's ready room. He's dismayed at the performance report for Barclay. It's very unusual to have an underperforming crew member on the Enterprise. Riker and Geordi want to transfer him out. Geordi tells Picard that broccoli makes them nervous. Riker explains the broccoli name, and it seems to have caught on. Picard tells them to uncatch it. Picard says his last captain, Captain Gleason, talked quite highly about him, but Riker thinks Gleason may have been buttering their bread. Picard thinks it's easy to transfer a problem elsewhere, and he wants Geordi to try harder, to become best friends with him. Geordi says he can't stand to be in the same room as him, but Picard tells him to put his personal discomfort to one side and get on with his job. I thought in that scene it was a really good Picard scene of being a good captain, you know?
Yeah.
I think...
Trying to be inclusive. I mean, at the end of the day, these days, you'd consider it probably Barclay's a bit maybe autistic. So he's kind of on the neurodiverse sort of spectrum, and you should be inclusive of people with different kind of abilities and outlooks rather than just ostracizing them. So yeah, it was the right call by Picard. And when he does tell him to make him his project, and he turns his like screen thing back to him, you can see it's blank. They're all looking at a blank screen.
Are they? I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Q gives us the information about Goldacott being responsible for his android body. I must have missed that. Thank you for that, Sean. That's very useful.
See, if that gripe was
unfounded,
maybe all your other gripes.
That's fine. I like it. That's why I like talking about it. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Geordi heads down to the cargo bay for an update on how Barclay's been doing, and Reg tells him he's still working on it. Geordi looks at pains to not appear to be hassling him and tells him he's got all the time in the world. Take your time, Reg. Geordi then asks Reg to sit in on the senior officer's briefing in the morning because he wants his input. To which Barclay's like really surprised, like, input on what? Geordi tries to reassure him that there's no pressure, just be there for 800 hours. Barclay agrees, and as Geordi leaves, Barclay looks a little bit in shock.
Have you got your change picture cues in your thingy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. Just we seem to be being on the same picture for a little while. I was just checking.
I will say there's not many. There's
Pictures.
not many pictures in this.
There were loads last week, weren't there?
Yeah, there was loads for the last episode. There's not many for this one. Yeah. At the meeting in engineering, senior engineers, including going around the table, Costa, Myers, Duffy, and Wesley. Interesting thing about
Russell. We were going to do that. Where's Russell spotting? But
I was gonna.
There's lots of extras.
I was gonna leave.
Russell.
I was gonna leave that to at the end, and ask the question: did we spot Russell in this episode? And
sorry.
no, there is no Russell. So no.
And the other weird thing is, like last week with all the extras in engineering, they all had the old uniforms, and this week we've got all these extras in engineering, and they've all got the new uniforms.
They have.
There must have been a bit of a re-uniforming of people from last episode to this episode.
Yeah. Interestingly, I think it's Costa is actually stood next to Geordi.
Yeah.
Here, just behind Geordi. Myers. Is this guy here, stood up straight, and Duffy is this guy next to Wesley. We don't know who this guy is. They don't mention. He's not. Don't know. I have no idea who this guy is.
I'm sure there was somebody Jones was mentioned on IMDb in the cast. But the other ones, Lieutenant Duffy's mentioned.
Yeah, that's Duffy.
Crewman Nelson, Youngblood, Jones.
Don't know.
Don't know who the hell Youngblood
But
is.
the other interesting thing is, and I say interesting, the very loose term, Myers, this guy, who even has a speaking point. He says something in the episode when Geordi asked him something. On IMDb, and the actor's unknown. Nobody knows who he is. Don't know what his name is. Don't know what else he's been in. He's completely.
Maybe it was just like somebody on the set who had to sort of just briefly step in, or I don't know.
It's unusual to have a speaking part in a TNG episode and not have any credit or know who that, not even know the name of the actor. No clue. So if anybody knows who that guy is, who plays Myers in this episode of TNG, let us know. Let us know. We're interested. We're interested to know who he is.
Cool.
Yeah. Right, where was I? Oh yeah, there we go. So Wes is there. So that's another thing. I thought when we first come onto this scene, I thought it was supposed to be senior staff, and then we got Wes. Wes there was, but apparently Wes has been assigned to engineering as part of his training. So they all gather around the central table, but there's one missing. That's Barclay, who hasn't arrived yet. Just as LaForge is about to start the meeting, Barclay arrives. Is that classic? Just that second too late. He just goes to start, and then Barclay turns up just for maximum annoyance. It's really, really quite good. Good old pool table from Star Trek 4. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was in Starfleet Command in Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home when they talked to Kirk on the Bird of Prey. There's the screens in that table.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, thank you for that, Sean.
Mindful of information.
He is, isn't he? He knows. Sean here knows his stuff. I tell you. Yeah, we've got an expert on the call. Yes, so he just arrives. Geordie assigns Duffy and Costa to align the injectors. Wesley gets assigned to Myers to learn about engineering, and he tells Barclay to tell them about the work he's been doing on the anti-grav sled. He stammers through his update, and the engineers look at each other to say, oh, what a tool. As he gets into some of the technical details, Wesley interrupts him and tells him of what he should be looking at. And Barclay's like, I was getting around to saying that, but, he never really gets the chance. And as they leave to take a look at the realignment procedure, Barclay follows on looking somewhat deflated. Later, in Councillor Troy's office, talking about Councillor Troy's office, she has a picture on the wall behind where she sits. But what shape is the picture? And that's your second question for 40 TNG points.
Wow. I have absolutely no idea. I mean, it's not going to be something crazy, right? I could take a guess.
Well, it's going to be a shape, isn't it? So, yeah.
Yes, exactly. There's only a few shapes to choose from other than really odd shapes.
You got a good chance of guessing this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what shape is the picture?
A comment-ish, but it's sort of not quite happened yet. But while they're all stood there talking, they talk about the flow capacitor and checking that on the malfunctioning anti-grav device. But in the next scene, do you know what Barclay calls the flow capacitor?
He calls it the Back to the Future flux capacitor.
I don't know if that was like a fluff of the line, but apparently they make quite a few sort of Back to the Future type references in Star Trek over the years. But it strikes me that it was probably a mistake rather than anything deliberate. But I just thought that was quite funny. And later on, I'm sure they called it later on something else. Oh, I don't know if I noted it down. But they called it a something else capacitor. And I was like, can nobody get that right? Anyway.
A flow capacitor. So we got some questions, answers coming in. I'm just waiting see if Karen wakes up. Wake up, Karen.
Yeah, don't go sleep.
Don't go sleep.
I'm going to go for something different just for the sake of it. I'm going to go triangle.
Triangle, yeah. So later in Councillor Troy's office, Barclay has regained his confidence and swagger. He tells her that he should have told Wesley to mind his damn business. Troy tells him he's being too hard on himself. And to help him relax, she gives him a passionate kiss. Barclay's now in the mood for something a little more unusual. So runs another program where he's transported to a paradise and Troy is the goddess of empathy. There we go. The goddess of empathy. There she is.
Jonathan Frakes in particular enjoyed this episode. He said it was a complete riot, especially the goddess of empathy. I think he found this whole scene hilarious.
Oh, Karen's just woke up. There you go.
Hey. Circle, circle, triangle, square.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. I'll go to answers now.
Did any of us get it right?
Yes. We've got two correct answers.
Oh, the circles have it.
It was a circle.
40 points for Stu Plum, 40 points for Sean.
Yep.
0 for me and Kaz.
And also...
Maz and Kaz on 0.
Not that it's massively interesting, but
Where else was it used?
well, this is the her room from
There he is, a circle.
the price. You can see the circle there is like slightly bigger than a steering wheel, sort of thing. Now in this episode, it's still a circular painting. I think it's still the same painting, but it's now a lot bigger. So they decided it wasn't big enough, so they made it a lot bigger for some reason. Also, in this, they made the black screens like from a pale pink to a really dark pink. So some changes to Troy's office there,
if you call it that.
Yeah. And we got some points on the board now. That's good. Right, I'm just getting back to where I was. She tells him to cast off his inhibitions and embrace joy. They embrace and kiss again. In 10 forward, the engineering staff are informally debriefing from the morning's meeting. Wes seems annoyed that Geordie must have criticised him for speaking up. Geordie explains how Barclay is his project. Duffy jokes that Broccoli is a project, all right. Wes gets what Geordie's saying, though. Data expresses confusion at why Lieutenant Barclay is being clandestinely referred to as a vegetable. They say it's a nickname, but Data points out that nicknames are a note of fondness shared amongst friends. Geordie agrees that they should stop using it. Duffy discovers his glass is leaking, as the structure seems to have melted slightly. Yeah. And that's the end of Act 1. Oh.
I don't think I have anything specific to note. There was something that I noted later on in the episode, but is probably worth mentioning, as I don't have any other bits of triv at the moment. I was fascinated, I don't know why I've never really picked up on this before, but when Data's at his console on the bridge, I was just fascinated by watching his fingers. They're so kind of versatile, or he's got such good dexterity. Yeah,
like a piano player.
It's almost like a pianist. Yeah, and it was quite fascinating to watch. Although it does, then the more you start watching it, the more you realise how wobbly the console he's at actually is. Yeah. But he just seems to, it really looks like he's actually doing something. I guess he plays that illusion quite well, I'd say. I was meaning to look up whether or not he was actually a pianist, but I haven't.
No, I don't know.
Yet. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know.
So, Act 2. Data scan the glass and find it's changed at a subatomic level. It could have been a problem with the replicator, as that would affect the contents as well. Data thinks the glass has been in contact with an unshielded power source. Geordie orders Reg to look into it. Turns out Reg was going to look into it because of the issues with the anti-grav unit. Data postulates that the two things might be related. Talking about anti-grav units, what colour was the glowing light under the anti-grav unit? And that's your question 3 for 60 TNG points.
These are super hard.
Yeah, what colour?
And what colour? I mean, there's only so many colours, right? I'm going to totally blind guess it again. I'm going to go for blue.
Well, you went straight in there, didn't you?
Idea.
You went straight in there.
So
may
as well guess now.
I'll continue whilst we get other answers in. On the bridge, Geordie shows the glass to Riker. They tell him it was Barclay who discovered the link between the two problems, but Barclay kind of stammerly denies it. Picard arrives and asks whether power will be affected during the tests, and Barclay takes 5 minutes, saying he doesn't think so. No. Picard's like good, and with an encouraging smile, tells him he looks forward to the report, Mr. Broccoli. The smile fades as he realised what he said, and quickly corrects himself. Riker looks amused at Picard's blunder, but Barclay does not, and leaves the bridge. Picard looks on, mortified, as Data tells him that metathesis is a common mistake. But as he's talking, Picard's look tells him to stop, so he carries on doing whatever he's doing at the science console. We got some answers coming in, yes. Geordi goes 10 forward and asks Guinan about Barclay. She says he keeps to himself and has a warm milk. Geordi tells her that Barclay is now his problem. She says, well, I can tell you, he's creative. He's like, how do you know that? And she's like, I just know. Geordi thinks he might be in the wrong line of work, as he doesn't fit in. And Guinan tells him a story about her misfit brother, Turkin. Geordi's like, but he's always late and nervous. Nobody wants to be around him. But Guinan's like, if nobody wanted to be around me, I'd be late and nervous too. Geordi gets Barclay's location from the computer and tracks him down to the holodeck, where he finds a hologram of Dr. Crusher and Wesley in 17th century clothing having a picnic. I think Sean must be gone.
Sean, get your guess.
No, there's no guess from Sean. I'll get to the end of this paragraph and then we'll do the answers.
Yeah.
Beverly greets Geordi, but Wes is too interested in his pie that he's shoveling into his mouth. Bev reprimands Wes's lack of manners and tells him Master Barclay will spank him if he misbehaves. Which begs the question, does Barclay often spank Wesley on the holodeck? Is that kind of like a regular thing?
Don't even want to know.
Well, she said it so like, you know,
I know.
if you act up, Mr. Barclay's going to spank you. It's like, oh no. Oh, Sean missed the question. Oh, that's okay. What colour glowy lights were under the anti-grav sledge? So yeah, the anti-grav unit. There's like glowy colour coming out of the bottom of it. What colour is that? Yeah.
So that outfit that he's wearing, it's something specific. Did you know that?
Something to do with a blue boy.
Yeah, it's from a famous painting by Thomas Gainsborough. Apparently there were like various references to the painter and the painting in the script. I don't know what those references are, but they peppered this episode with references to the blue boy. And the actual outfit he's got on is quite like meticulously recreated of that blue boy. In terms of all the frills and bows and stuff.
There you go.
Hey.
That's his blue boy outfit. Shoveling pie.
I don't quite know why he's eating pie. That's got to be something, but
don't know.
I mean, the actual picture doesn't have pie in it.
This is Elementary, My Dear Data, and in that episode there's a copy of that picture in the scene.
Oh,
in the background.
Oh wow.
That's the picture that's based on, apparently.
Little blue boy Easter eggs. It is indeed the picture.
A little blue boy Easter egg. So there you go. Elementary, My Dear Data, that was from.
There was something else I was going to say. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, I was just looking up Brent Spiner, and I can't find any references to music, but I did find a couple of interesting things. There was a quote from him in 2006 saying, "I don't think I should play Data anymore. I think I'm too old to play him, and to be honest, I think it would look stupid putting that makeup on me at this point," which I think is funny because then, like 16 years later, he's playing Data again.
He did, yes.
Which I thought was quite cool. But then again, like graphics and things have come a long way since then, right?
Yeah.
And the other interesting thing in the trivia about him is just shows how close they've all become as a, cast. Because you think with some people, like you had the feeling with the Friends cast, for example, that they really hadn't all seen each other for a lot of years when they did that reunion.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas I get the feeling with the Star Trek cast, they're actual friends. I mean, he's the godfather of Gates McFadden's son. He was a groomsman at Marina Sirtis's wedding. He was best man at Patrick Stewart's wedding.
Wow.
So it just seems like they are actual friends, which I think is quite sweet.
Very sweet. Okay, well, we'll have answers because we've got all the answers in now. We've got Maz with blue, Stu Plum with red, Karen with red, and Sean with blue. And the answer is... it's red. It's red. And also...
so that's Kaz and Stu with 60 points, right?
yeah.
So that's Stu on 100, Kaz on 60, Sean still on 40, and me still on a big fat 0.
And we got a picture
Plenty of points to
here
play
of
for
the
there.
sled. Right, there you go. So... well,
oh yeah,
red.
it's very red.
Red. Orangey red. That is it. It's interesting
Good
because
shout.
all the other versions of the anti-grav sled that we see in TNG has a blue light.
Ah,
But this particular one, has red. The only time I
we
think.
were nearly right.
The only time it
Sean,
has red.
Never mind.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a trick question. Bit of a trick question there. But yeah, this time it was red. Come back.
That was so funny though when Picard calls him broccoli.
Yeah, it was.
Metathesis.
Comedic timing from Picard was awesome.
Yeah, and the way Data tries to make him feel better about it. Metathesis is a common mispronunciation. And then just kind of blows, oh, forget this and go back to work. Class.
Sean says there's a
Love it.
fan re-edit of the Picard scene with Data.
And the de-aging is perfect.
Oh, the de-aging. Yeah. Yes, Thomas Riker. See, that would make an interesting story. You know, we were talking about like doing anthology of short stories in Star Trek. Having another Thomas Riker story. That would be good.
Definitely.
That would be good. Yeah. Anybody know where I was at? Oh, yes, there we go. Yes, down picnic. Spanking, yes. Does Barclay spank Wes in the holodeck? I don't know why my mind went there, but it did. Okay, so then the Three Musketeers enter, fencing with Barclay, except the Three Musketeers are Picard, Geordi, and Data, I think. Picard asks him how he can fight this way, to which Barclay responds he's self-taught. As Picard gets cornered, he lets Barclay know there's someone else here, and Geordi gives a little cough. Barclay turns around and is like, oh shit. Well, they don't lock the holodeck door, do they? No, nobody ever locks the holodeck door, which is a bit of a surprise, to be honest.
Yeah.
Back in 10 forward, Barclay is embarrassed. He asks him for a transfer. Geordi tells him that he spent a few hours in the holodeck himself. So, you know, what he does there is his own business as long as it doesn't affect his work. Geordi tells him...
Hint, it's affecting your work.
Yeah. Geordi tells him he won't tell anyone, as they will not understand his imagination like he does. Guinan gives him a little knowing look as she dishes out her drinks, because that's exactly what she said to him moments earlier. Though he says creating crew members is unusual, Reg says he needs to blow off steam, and he couldn't tell Geordi to his face, and it's just got out of control from there. But, you know, it sounds therapeutic. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Just to create your boss.
Yell at them.
Yeah, yeah. Reg goes on to say he's scared all the time. You know, and the old party line you said earlier, he writes things down to stay at a party and ends up alone in the corner trying to look comfortable inspecting potted plants. Geordi orders Reg to talk to Troy about it as his friend and his commanding officer. So basically he's ordered him to go talk to Troy, though he's done it in a friendly way. Oh, I've just remembered what I was going to say for the last question of this thing, and I've not done it now, so I can't do it. I was going to ask, how many times does he pat Reg on the shoulder in this episode? Because every time he talks to him, after he's talked to him, he like pats him on the arm, like encouragingly. I think he does it about 5 or 6 times.
Aww.
And I was going to count them. So I'm not doing that now. Yeah. O'Brien calls Geordie to the transporter
Never
room.
mind.
Yeah. And reports they have a problem with the transporter. He transports a test cylinder from one pad to the other and back again, and it ends up broken and steaming. And that's the end of Act 2. Yeah.
The fight scene with the
Swords,
fencing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a pretty terrible stunt double of Dwight Schultz. I mean, this guy, he had hair all the way down his forehead.
He looked kind of Indian.
Nothing like him.
He looked kind of Indian.
He looked like he was about 25. And I mean, I don't know. It just looked nothing like him. At first, it wasn't so bad because it was from behind. But then there were like these whole scenes where you could just full on see his face. And yeah, again, like with I guess with higher graphics and that these days, you notice it more. Maybe that wouldn't be so noticeable in the first one. But...
Yeah, that does. Sean says guessing a number in Star Trek is usually best to guess 47.
Yeah.
We do have a sort of 47
we do
watch.
try and spot the 47s.
Yeah.
We had one last week, didn't we? With
we did.
47 people had died on the
ship. On the ship, on the Adelphine. Yes. Yes, 47. Yeah, so Act 3 opens with a chief engineer's log, and he tells us they still have no idea what's going on, which is really useful for a log. I don't know, we don't usually have chief... Is this the first chief engineer's log we've had? I don't know.
I don't know, it could be.
I don't remember. I don't remember
Although
having
that
a chief
Leah
engineer's
Brahms
log.
one might have had.
Oh, it might have done.
That Leah Brahms one might have had him with a log. It seems like that could have happened. Yeah. He got his log out for Leah.
He got his log out for Leah Brahms. Yeah. Picard, Riker, and Geordie inspect the canister. There they are, inspecting it on the transporter pad. Geordie reports that only transporter room what was affected. So, only transporter room number what was affected. So, yeah, another number one.
So those test cylinders, apparently they were actually U.S. Navy Sonar Boy transport cases, according to the Next Generation Companion.
Yes, that is correct.
And that little bit of footage there where they beam it and beam it back is used again in Data's Day.
Oh, yes, it is.
That's a good episode, Data's Day. We follow him around for the day. His interactions and his thoughts.
Bear with me a minute. I'm trying to find... I did... stop. You try to get to a website and you just get like advert upon advert, don't you, come up? And you can't get to
one. Such is the world we live in.
Yeah. There we go. Right. So I just wanted to... Sorry.
We can't see what you're frustrated at.
No. Here you go. Stop sharing. Share what I'm actually being frustrated at. Step memory alpha here and
test cylinders.
Yes, test cylinders. And does it say here?
Yeah, they've got like a biogel or something in them, but
yeah. Oh, there's not.
I think this is the fictional view of what they are. I don't know if it actually says what they.
I had a website earlier that I wanted to show you, and I've lost it. I have lost it.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, it's got pictures of what they actually are.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Hang on. I suppose cylinder. I'll give up.
Well, what I was going to say, while you're doing that, Cliff Bowl was saying that like Dwight Schultz, in terms of somebody to work with, was really excellent. He prepares a lot for his role, and really gives thought and direction to what he's doing, and that the fantasy part of it was fun. And Cliff Bowl himself said he had a load of fun on the episode. He thinks it was a really good character study and great fantasy within the illusion, because people, like the fans, all like that illusion within an illusion kind of stuff. So, super happy with this episode. It was good old Cliff.
Yeah.
And apparently this episode was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Achievement in Hairstyling. I was thinking, like, what hairstyling? But all I can think of was the holodeck characters with their big, floofy, curly
Oh, that was it.
kind of, I don't know. But yeah, other than that, I don't really remember that many hairstyles going on.
I found it in the end. I was looking in the wrong website. It was in this website, not the. So it was the Sono Boys. So you can see these test canisters. The Sono
yeah.
Boys. So they drop them from airplanes to disrupt like submarines or to track submarines. It's like an anti-submarine thing used by the U.S. Navy. They started using them all the way back in Star Trek 1, the motion picture.
Oh, right.
You can see, like on the bridge here, someone's carrying one. Then they're used in set sort of. There's one like in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan here. They're inbuilt into like the wall panels of like the Klingon bird of prey in the Voyage Home.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, used throughout Star Trek: The Next Generation for various things. They're also used throughout Deep Space Nine.
I was going to say, there's a bit on Deep Space Nine where they take these canisters, they have like a ritual for pulling them out on the Defiant. But I'm not sure if that's the same ones that are used. But
no, that was actually looked very much like them, but they were slightly smaller, so it wasn't them.
Yeah.
Voyager, they're used in Voyager, so you can see them in the background. And also, back in time, they were used in Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Where we can see them.
They certainly get about a bit.
And they were used in Battlestar Galactica, the original Battlestar Galactica, where we can see them in the background of sickbay. Yeah, these are the ones, the phaser couplings on the runabouts. That was actually something smaller, and
Oh yeah.
it wasn't one of those. It wasn't one of those.
But yeah, looks a lot like it, just little.
But yeah, they've been around, Sonar Boys. I guess they must have hundreds of them or something. But
yeah, looks like.
I'm glad I
It's got a
found
job
it.
lot.
I'm glad I found it in the end. Oh dear.
Oh, poor you.
There we go. Right. Where are we? Yes. So, what transporter room was it? Have we got answers in then?
Stu Plum answered, and I've answered. No answer from Sean or Kaz yet.
Come on, Karen.
Mine was again
wiki.
complete guess. I haven't known a single one of these answers today.
Oh, there's Karen. Look
Kaz
there.
guesses 4.
4.
I'm saying it's a guess. She might know. For all I
Sean,
know.
what was the transporter room number? Let us know. So Reg is in a session with Troy again, and but this time the real Troy, because he looks very uncomfortable. She asks him if he's ever seen a counsellor before, and he's like, yes, no, yes, no, not really a counsellor. He tries to pretend not to be intimidated by awkwardly crossing his legs and trying to look cool, and it really doesn't work. She tells him to lean back, and she lowers the lights, and she tells him to take in a slow breath through his nose and out through his mouth. Barclay does as she says, and after one breath, he's like, yes, feeling much better now, thank you very much, and off he goes out the door. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I'm done. That's his counselling. It's done. Troy goes to the bridge and tells Geordie about the weird session. Riker comes and asks where Barclay is because he didn't turn up for the 4 o'clock briefing. They all head to the holodeck to confront him. Geordie warns them that he's been running some unique programs. And they find the 3 musketeers and the pie-eating Wesley. And Riker doesn't look impressed at all.
Especially when a little dinky version of him comes out. That's funny.
Yeah.
It was noted as a continuity thing, but really not that important or interesting. But obviously, in Deep Space Nine, they refer back to Barclay's holodeck holodeck antics, but then obviously further than that, you know, he obviously features a lot in Voyager as well, around sort of running simulations and the stuff that he's been doing to try and understand where Voyager went. So he plays a really key role there as well.
So we've got a 3, a 3, and a 4.
You know, mine was a complete guess, and the only reason why I guessed it is because that's what Miles O'Brien refers to as his favourite transporter room. So that's why I pitched that as a guess.
Miles is generally always in transporter room 3.
Was that right then?
It was right, yes.
Hey!
Transporter room 3.
That puts Stuplum on 180, Sean is still on 40, Kaz is still on 60, and I suddenly get to 80. Yeah. Bonkers. I'm now in second position from being on a big fat 0.
Well done. Well done. So, Act 4. Riker thinks it's a violation of protocol as crew members shouldn't be simulated on the holodeck. Geordi points out that there isn't any specific regulation, but Riker doesn't care. He thinks there should be. Riker tries to shut down the program and erase it, which is pretty drastic. But as with most of Riker's orders, it gets belayed, this time by Troy. He thinks that ripping away from Barclay this would do more damage than good. The 3 Musketeers challenge them to a fight, but Riker declines, so they take him as being cowardly, and they call their number 1. It is a more fitting opponent. There he is. Little number 1.
He's so cute.
He's so cute. You just want to put him in your pocket.
Yeah.
They're really what's the word I want to say? Good outfits.
Yeah, they're like multi-layered and lots of detailing.
Very detailed. That's
even like the little fleur-de-lis patterns and things like that.
Yeah. Yes, very very detailed outfits.
So yeah, this like Emmy nomination for hairstyling, I can only think of for things like this type of hairstyling. I wonder if it included facial hairstyling, because there was a lot of that going on as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 1 comes running round the corner and is a little version of Riker, a little Musketeer's outfit. Troy thinks it's funny. She remarks, "Well, you are tall, so it must be intimidating to some people." Riker discontinues the image of Riker. The Musketeers won't tell them anything now because they think it's bad form. Troy lambasts Riker as he should really see the funny side. There's nothing wrong with a healthy fantasy life. Just as she says that, they round the corner to find the goddess of empathy. It gets a "oh my god" from Geordi, and a great deal of amusement from Riker.
And suddenly Troy doesn't see the funny side of it anymore.
Yeah. Now it's Riker's turn to belay Troy's attempt to discontinue the program, stated, "You want more insight? Quite a healthy fantasy life, wouldn't you say?" Geordi agrees. When the matter-antimatter injectors fail, the ship's velocity momentarily increases to what warp factor? So straight after this scene, the matter-antimatter injectors fail, and the ship momentarily, just for a second, increases to warp factor what? It's a difficult one, that, isn't it?
I do not know.
I thought that's going to catch people out, that one.
I know later on, it like when it's longer, it starts getting up into like the 9s and things, but I don't know what it did temporarily.
Temporarily, yeah. I'll give you a clue. It's not 9.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah.
Narrows it down a bit.
I'm sorry, I've just got to blow my nose. One moment. Sorry. I do apologise.
Oh, bless you. I mean, people say that it has kind of cold-like symptoms. Sean says 11. Oh, and Stuplum says 9. They can't do warp factor 11. I thought you were like Mr. Star Trekky technical brain box.
You can't go 10 or
Can't
above.
go past 10, yeah. I think you should both try again. Stuplum, we said not 9.
I say that, but they did. They didn't go past 10. In the original series, they had different warp factor things, and at points like the Traveller, made them go from one end of the universe to the other.
That's true. Yeah.
Made the ship go whatever warp factor. But yeah.
And when Q blasts them to wherever they met Borg and stuff. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Okay, so while some answers are coming in,
I'm gonna do another random guess. Yeah.
Picard calls Geordi and asks for an explanation. Geordi tells him he's in holodeck 2. Picard gets the wrong end of the stick and tells him he should keep holodeck activities until later and consult with Barclay on the issue. Geordi would like to, but he can't find him at the moment. Yes, Sean's saying that there were errors. Yeah, there was many errors in that.
I think in all good things, though, wasn't that supposed to be an implication that in the future they've broken the warp 10 sort of barrier?
The trans-warp barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. The goddess of empathy is babbling on about casting your masks aside. And Troy tells her to muzzle it. They find Barclay sleeping on Dr. Crusher's lap. So they wake him, and Geordi takes him to engineering. On the way, Geordi expresses his disappointment that instead of getting help from the real Troy, he retreated back to his fantasy world. Geordi tells him how he fell in love in the holodeck. I mean, it's a good job that Barclay's got Geordi, really, because...
he's quite understanding about it all, having empathy.
He has that. Yeah, I think Sean's...
See the way he brightens up at the time where LaForge says, I even fell in love with it. He's like, really? It's like, it sort of is a bit of relief to him to hear that some other people have had similar sort of things.
What's that film about that band? And they insist on having their amps go up to 11. So they make them with dials, like with a... Am I remembering that right?
I have no idea.
They're the same amps, but they just make them go up to 11 rather than 10 because they wanted their amps. They wanted their amps to be more.
So they just repaint the markers, or
yeah. They want amps that go up to 11. Where was I? Amps 11. No.
Woke him up.
Oh yes, yeah. He told him he fell in love in the holodeck. Bacardi tells Geordi that he is the only one who feels more real to him outside the holodeck. The rest they feel more real to Spinal Tap. Thank you, Sean. Yes. LaForge says he needs him out here in the real world, and gives him another couple of slaps on the shoulder. In engineering, Barclay suggests dropping out of warp, but the injectors get jammed. There's nothing they can do. The ship accelerates on to warp 9. So, answers to that question. We got Sean with 11.
Stu Plum said 9, and then 7.25, and then 7.
Oh, which one are you going for there?
I'd go with the last one, 7. I said 6. Sean said 11.
11. Well,
nothing from Kaz, I don't think.
Well, I will tell you that it was 7.25. So I'm going to give Stu Plum the points for saying it.
Wow. And that was 100 points.
Yeah.
You're rocking and rolling, Stu Plum. 280 points for you, 40 for Sean, 60 for Kaz, 80 for me. So he's going to walk away with it this week, I think.
we're on the last act. Picard orders red alert. Data says they have 15 minutes and 40 seconds until structure failure. Geordi and his team brainstorm how they can get out of it, but after talking through all the failures they've discovered, they still don't know what's the cause. On the bridge, they are preparing for source of separation, but Data says the source of separation could rupture the warp field and destroy them all. Barclay blurts out the idea that maybe one of them is the connection to all the malfunctions, just by going around the ship and touching things. Duffy's glass, O'Brien's transporter, Both of them were present when the anti-grav failed. Geordie uses the computer and reduces the number of substances that could be picked up by a scan down to 5. Reg knocks another one off because it has a short half-life, and Wes knocks a 2 off because they're toxic in oxygen atmosphere. That leaves 2, saltskidium, and invidium. Reg postulates that the Micalax might still use it as a medical containment. And it was that canister that was broken in the cargo bay. They go down to the cargo bay. Reg dips his hand in to the canister, scans it, and shows the signs of invidium. Reg says that cooling it down to minus 200 Celsius will make it inert. To do this, they decide to flood antimatter chamber with cryonitrium. Yeah, let's go with that. With the warp core strobing like a 90s rave, on the bridge, Data reports that the matter injectors have come online. However, the antimatter injectors are still offline. Picard orders Data to cycle the power through the ventral relay, which does the trick, and the warp engine is powered down. I thought it was a bit of a shame, really, that after doing all this engineering stuff and fixing the problem, that Picard ordering to go through the... what did he say? To cycle power through the ventral relay is what actually ends up saving the crew. It's like, surely those commands would be Geordie's in engineering. Engineering would have picked all that up, wouldn't you thought? But I think I think they thought, well, we've got to give Picard and Data something to say in this episode, something a bit more to say. No, I don't know. Riker signals down his congratulations to Geordie and Barclay, and Geordie recommends pulling into Starbase for a complete decontamination. Geordie tells Reg he's glad he's in the real world today, and after a good couple of smacks on the back, comes to a decision. On the bridge, Reg says goodbye to the crew, for he is leaving. He tells the computer to end program and erase all programs except what program?
I know that one.
Well, that's your question 6, your last final question of the night. Yeah.
And did you notice that there's some music playing as he leaves? Do 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 do.
What is that?
Have you not heard that before? It's often played in like, I don't know, Scottish things, or like old war, sort of Civil War, maybe. I don't know, that kind of stuff. It's the Minstrel Boy.
The Minstrel Boy. Oh, right.
Yeah. I noticed it's like just sort of played like quietly in the background, but it's like I don't know if it's a reference to the time period of the Musketeers, maybe.
Oh,
or
maybe. Yeah.
Something like that. Some kind of throwback to his fantasy world, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the end of the episode. So yeah, the episode there ends on the last question 6. And I like the way, they make you think that Barclay's giving in and saying goodbye to the crew because it's on the bridge and like the crew were there, and he's handed in his resignation. And it turns out, no, he's saying goodbye to his holodeck characters. And I like the way he deletes them all, but keeps one. Just for that healthy balance, He's doing it in a healthy way now.
See, Sean knew it was Minstrel Boy.
Yes, well done, Sean. Well done. Yes, Minstrel Boy. I didn't know that. I did not know that. So, yes, what program does he keep? Let's get some more answers in. Any last goofs? Trivia?
don't think so. I mean, that whole thing when he pauses for a while and then says, accept a particular program. There's a general comment that when he said erase it, like the computer would have just erased it, and then about 5 seconds later he goes, "Oh, except for this program." But surely the computer would have already carried out the action. But then I'm guessing the computer could probably just restore it. It would be intelligent enough to be able to do that.
Yeah. There's a microphone. Apparently, in this final scene when he stood addressing the crew. I'm just trying
Did not spot that.
I'm trying to find a picture of it. Oh my God! It's so small.
Is it?
Yeah. You can just see it at the top here.
Oh yeah.
Tiny little. And this is only in the Blu-ray HD version because they resized the frame for the HD version, and they accidentally clip in a mic. Yeah, when you look at the non-HD version, the standard definition one, the mic's not there. So there you go. Put in a mic. Okay, so let's have a look at the answers then. What answers have we got? Stu Plum says program 9. Sean says program 1. Maz says program 9. Stu Plum was just getting all the other answers he thought I might ask, like Nvidium, Starbase 121, any other bits and pieces. Yeah, Nvidium was possibly one of the ones I was going to put in there. Because of the COVIDs, I did actually forget the questions until the last minute, about 10 minutes before we go on air. Maz goes, "Have you got the questions done then?" And I was like, "Oh, crap."
Well, you had done some of them, to be fair.
I'd done a couple, yeah. So that was a bit of a rush. Yeah. Heavily featured in Deep Space Nine and became a sort of O'Brien theme tune.
Oh yeah, and I think also because they, I think it. Now you say that, like, because they had their like their reenactment like models and things, didn't they? And I'm pretty sure like whenever, and even on the last episode maybe when they were doing the tearful goodbye, I'm pretty sure it's on then as well.
He said, "What do you call a guy in charge of a mic who isn't good at his job?" Okay, boomer. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, so there we go. You probably want the answer, and the answer is program 9. So, well done, Stu Plum, and well done, Maz. You got some more points.
Good though.
I think that means Stu Plum's our runaway winner, isn't it, this evening?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely, runaway. That was 120, wasn't it? That puts him on 400. I caught up slightly on 200, and Kaz and Sean are on 1640. Sean, you got like a lot of knowledge there. It's just a shame that didn't transfer into the points. But yeah, you could be a future threat if you join us every week. I reckon you'll rack up the points quite quickly.
Just add another one for season 3 for Stu Plum. Yeah, he's out on the lead there on 8. So he's done very well. Well done, Stu Plum. Now it's that time of the day where we pull in our scores for this episode. So put in chat.
If you can wax just for like 30 seconds.
30 minutes. Jeez.
I've got Luda annoyingly asking me to quickly check to see if his wallet is here because he thinks he might have lost it.
Okay, no worries.
I need to quickly do that, but I'll be back in seconds.
Yeah. So if you could put your scores for this episode. Well, I'll tell you what, Sean, you've done superbly well considering you haven't seen this episode in years. Very, very good performance from you there. Maybe
back.
We're not going to be on next week, by the way.
No, we're not.
We're on holiday for Easter next week, so no TNG review next Wednesday, but we'll be back the following week. So if you want to come, Sean, and join us again, not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, for carrying on with season 3, feel free, come join us. We're glad to have you. So out of 10, 0 to 10, what do you reckon a score for this episode? Sean says the wallet's
Stuplum
his.
gives it an 8.
Yep, sure.
Actually, I better message Luda. It is on the kitchen side.
Oh, it is it? Oh, he can relax. He can relax.
Except he's going to the pub without his wallet. But
that's what friends are for, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. That's it. Somebody else will have to buy him his Guinness.
Yeah. Okay. So, you ready with your paddle?
I'm ready with my paddle.
You ready? I haven't got G's. I don't have to check G. I don't know if he's messaged me with his score for this week. No, he hasn't. So, we'll have to find out what he gives it in a minute. But ready for your score?
Yep.
3,
Yep.
2, 1. Oh,
Hey, pretty high scores.
pretty high. It's one of my favourites of the season. I love that episode, and so give it a pretty high score. Obviously, at the moment, without G's, I don't know where it's going to rank against the other episodes this season. Let me just pull that out a little bit so you can see it.
It's difficult to know with G. Sometimes likes to throw a wild card, so we'll have to see.
I'll have to see. Yeah. I think it should be fairly high.
Oh, Stuplum says, don't forget to like the stream. Well done, Stuplum.
Yeah.
We nearly forgot
Thanks,
to say
Stuplum.
entirely.
Yes. Yeah.
Only 3 people have, so not everybody has.
Oh, please do. It's not quite up there with yesterday's Enterprise, but it's probably going to be one of our top episodes of the season. I think, even with G scoring, it should be fairly
it might be 5th or 6th, but we got Deja Vu there, Deja Q there as well. Yesterday's Enterprise, and of course we got some other extra special episodes coming up towards the end of the season.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yep. Any final thoughts on this episode?
Not really. I just really enjoyed it. I thought, obviously there was not that much action, but I didn't really care. I thought it was really good character. I thought there was really good humor. I thought, even Data had some sweet lines, and Picard had some funnies, and the whole holodeck stuff was great. So no real complaints.
I think it's good to see
really
someone
enjoyed
using the holodeck for what we know everybody would use the holodeck for.
Yeah, enacting their fantasies.
Yeah. By shouting at your boss.
And having romantics with their
liaisons
with your colleagues.
with your the one you admire the most.
Usually, yeah.
And as they say in lower decks, isn't it? They the lower deck staff have to go in and clean out the holodeck filters.
And one of them says, "Oh my God, people use it for that."
Yeah.
And says, "That's all they use it for."
Right. Yeah. And we got to see that. So a glimpse at that for the first time with Barclay. Bless him.
Yep.
Yeah. Just next up, not next week, but the week after for the next episode.
The most toys.
It's the most toys. I know.
Have you got the trailer?
I know it's one of G's least favourite episodes, I think, of all time.
Yeah.
I actually have a bit of a soft spot for this episode. Not because it's a good episode.
I can't remember whether I like it or not, so I'm going to quite enjoy watching it to find out.
But when we were kids and we went to Florida, on one of the trips to Florida, we watched this episode in Florida, and it was like one of the first episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation I'd ever seen. So, even though maybe not one of the most popular episodes in the world, it still sort of holds nostalgia value for me. So here you go.
Yeah.
This is the trailer for The Most Toys. We'll be talking about it in 2 weeks' time.
Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
What am I doing here?
Commander Data is held hostage by powerful aliens.
If I help you escape, will you take me with you?
Will he break free and survive his capture? Or will he face death trying to escape?
No life signs.
Find out
No.
on the next exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Would you get life signs from Data?
I don't know. No positronic electric-y beep boop beep boop signs.
Yeah, I guess so.
G-Stars just messaged and said, "Oh, sorry, forgot score for tonight. If it's not too late, it's an 8.
It's an 8.
Hey, so that's
right.
good.
So yeah, that puts it up at joint 4th with Sins of a Father. So yesterday's Enterprise, Deja Q, Sins of a Father, and Hollow Pursuits as our top episodes of this season so far. But I say we still got 5 to
We
go.
only had one out of 10 on Facebook, which was Adam Locke, who gave it 7. So yeah, still pretty high.
Oh. Apparently,
So
Kivas
why don't you
Fajo,
come and watch?
that Most Toys, Kivas Fajo had to be recast as the original actor died of suicide before it aired.
Oh,
I think
Golly.
Kivas Fajo is the guy that kidnaps Data, and it's the guy from
Yeah.
Warehouse 13. Have you ever watched Warehouse 13?
you've paused.
Oh,
Back again?
I'm back.
Yeah, it's the guy from Warehouse 13, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh well. Thank you for letting us know that, Sean. We'll dig out those scenes with the other actor from YouTube and play them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
It'll
letting me
probably
know.
come up on your comparison site as well, won't it?
Yeah, hopefully. So, well, I've got some. I'm already ahead
I
on the
haven't
research.
researched all the trivia yet. Yeah, I
No.
was going to say. I wonder if it'll come out on my general research.
It's always good to have gotten some research done before you even finish the previous TNG review. It's very handy. Just need a research
Thank you
team.
very much.
Yeah. So he was good in Warehouse 13. Quite like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
the
liked
original
it too.
actor was a dwarf. Right. Well, I'll dig that up.
There
And
you
I'm
go.
also going to dig up the fan edit of the Picard and Data scene with Data redone
the
to
de-aging,
look
yeah.
de-aged, because I think it might be nice to have a little look at that at the beginning of the next episode as well, because we're having a little
Yeah.
bit of a Picard discussion before we get into this one. Yes. But thank you for joining me tonight, Maz, my co-host.
Pleasure.
Thank you for everyone in chat. Thank you, Sean, for being really active in chat and giving us lots of great information. Thank you to my wrench Smiler Rainbow. Thank you to Karen for coming and probably falling asleep. Thank you to Stu Plum for winning, for being our
Again.
most winningest watcher. So far this season. Yeah.
And to anyone else who watched but didn't come into chat.
That's right. Yes. Yes. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Cheers, everyone, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.